The hardy perennial that we've chosen as our Oklahoma proven selection for 2005 is Leadwort. And this is a plant that we talked about quite a bit on our program last fall. You can see there are a few flowers coming on right now, but this plant generally blooms in late summer and into fall. It really looks good in September and October. You can see those crisp blue flowers and those terminal clusters up at the tops of the plant. This plant is absolutely stunning in the fall. Now, as some cool weather comes on in the autumn, the leaves will turn sort of a burgundy reddish color, so you kind of get a two-tone effect of the blue and the burgundy together, and it's very attractive. You can see that the plants don't get all that tall. We've got them here in this raised or terraced bed, and they're only about 12 inches tall. They do spread about 2 feet or maybe even a little bit more than that. Sometimes we see written where they only spread to about 18 inches. Well, they do move out a little bit more so than that. And for that reason, Leadwort can be used as a ground cover. You can see that we've got these growing in full sun. They get pretty much full sun all day long, and they absolutely love it. But this plant will grow in quite a bit of shade as well. But the Leadwort, a great ground cover, a great low-growing perennial for the front of the border, kind of like we've got right here bordering our hollies. But we've got the Leadwort right down in front because it is low. You can see the other plants behind it. A great perennial for Oklahoma, the blue Leadwort. I'm really excited about the Oklahoma Proven Annual for 2005. It's the Summer Snapdragon, or as I like to call it, Angelonia. It's actually not a true annual. It is a tender perennial, or actually a sub-shrub. It's from Mexico, and it's no stranger to heat. The plants just keep producing these flowers on these little spikes throughout the growing season. It's one of my favorite bedding plants to use. I like using it in beds and also in containers for those little spikes of different color. The Summer Snapdragon is not anything like the typical Snapdragon we grow in our gardens. The regular Snapdragon sort of quit flowering when it gets hot. The Summer Snapdragon is just the opposite. It blooms more as the temperatures warm up. They are in the same family as Snapdragons, the Scrophulariaceae, or the Snapdragon family, along with the penstemons, Indian paintbrushes, and Veronicas. But the Angelonia, or Summer Snapdragon, that we have here comes in several different colors of purple. Right back here, I've got a little vase with some of the different varieties. You can see that it also comes in white, it comes in pink, so you can do some great planting combinations with these. And perhaps my favorite is this beautiful white and bluish purple bicolored form. It gets a little bit taller than some of the others, and I think just a wonderful plant. This bicolored Summer Snapdragon, or Angelonia, our Oklahoma Proven Annual of 2005. Right here we have the annual that was chosen as an Oklahoma Proven selection for 2006. This is Torinia, also known as the wishbone flower. And if you look inside, well, that's not a very good one. Let's look inside this one. You can see sort of a wishbone shaped structure in there. And that is the result of two of the stamens that sort of bend toward each other, and the anthers out on the end. Of course, the anthers are the pollen sacs, but those are sort of fused together and sort of give us a wishbone-like structure down in the mouth of the wishbone flower, or Torinia. Now, the particular cultivar or selection is Summer Wave, and it's a Torinia. It has a little bit larger flowers, and it's a series that contains sort of these blue and a little bit darker blue color of the Torinia. Now, this is a plant that is going to perform best if it has some morning sun and some afternoon shade. Now you can plant it out in full sun, but in the hottest part of the summer, in the middle of the day when it's really hot, it will kind of wilt down a little bit, but it almost always pops right back up overnight. The wishbone flower does best in a soil that is well drained and has plenty of moisture. But a good selection for beds and for containers, the Torinia or wishbone flower summer wave. The perennial that was chosen for the 2006 Oklahoma Proven plant is this one. This is Golden Jubilee Agastaki. Now, some people call it Agastaki, but I kind of stick with the name Agastaki. The common name is Anise hyssop, and the Golden Jubilee selection here you can see has sort of chartreuse foliage, sort of a gold foliage, and it is just getting started with the little light purple flowers right now. These spikes will actually get quite a bit taller than this as this plant thickens up, as it starts to grow and sort of fills out. Now the foliage, if you brush it, kind of gives you sort of a licorice scent, but I just love the contrast you get with the purple flowers and again that chartreuse foliage on this Golden Jubilee Agastaki. The plant will get to be about 2 feet tall and about 1.5 feet, maybe a little bit wider, and it's a great plant for attracting butterflies to the garden. It's going to look best out in full sun, and this plant has an award that it has won in the past. In 2003, it was an All-America Selections winner. The Golden Jubilee Agastaki, one of our North American natives, bred in Holland, but selected by us as our perennial for Oklahoma Proven 2006. Our Oklahoma Proven perennial for 2002 is the very showy Magnus purple coneflower like we have right here. Now these plants normally don't bloom this time of the year. We force them to bloom in the greenhouse so we could show you on our program. The plants will bloom heavily in early summer, in May and June, and then sporadically throughout the rest of the summer, and even more if you keep them deadheaded. The botanical name is Echinacea purpurea, and we actually have Echinacea purpurea native to southeastern Oklahoma. So that right there lets us know that this plant is going to do pretty well for us. The cultivar Magnus was actually selected in Sweden by a nurseryman by the name of Magnus Nielsen a few years back. This plant was the 1998 Perennial Plant of the Year, and it is a real winner in our Oklahoma gardens. One of the differences that Magnus has over some of the other purple coneflowers is that the ray florets are held more stiffly. They don't droop as bad as some of the other purple coneflowers, but a wonderful selection for your landscape. The annual for this year is one of our ornamental sweet potatoes, and this is the cultivar Margarita. It's got this beautiful gold or chartreuse foliage, and the plants are actually quite vigorous in the landscape. You put one plant in a nice rich soil, give it fairly adequate moisture, and the plants will spread a good 6 feet by 6 feet and only get about 8 inches tall. And for that reason, you don't want to plant them near a very small plant because they could overtake it. But they look very good spilling out of terraces and different containers. And if you plant these in a container, you really only need one plant because it will have plenty of energy and spill out and look really good. The plants do produce edible tuberous roots just like the other sweet potatoes, but believe me, they're not as tasty as some of our more traditional sweet potatoes. Well, I hope you look for the Oklahoma Proven plants when you go to your nursery or garden center this year. And when you walk in the nursery, look for these posters that announce the program, our Oklahoma Proven program. And not only do we have the posters, but also you may see some of these billboards or these other placards out in the nursery near where the plants are for sale. So good luck with your Oklahoma Proven plants this year. The 2003 Oklahoma Proven Perennial is a plant that is a non-flowering plant. We've selected a fern for this year's perennial, and a very good choice in my opinion. This is the Japanese painted fern. This is actually a variegated form of the Japanese painted fern. It's got a little bit more silver than the species would have, and then the rachis, or the little stem type structure that holds all of the leaves together, is a very neat little raspberry color. So that's a very nice attribute to this plant. But again, ferns are non-flowering plants. We've got them here in our prehistoric garden. They will reproduce by spores that are produced on the undersides of these leaves. The Japanese painted fern, you can see, gets about 12 inches tall, a little bit taller, and then these fronds will kind of lay over. But a good thing about this fern is that it produces new fronds throughout the season. You can see a new leaf unfurling here, and one more right down here starting to come out. But this is, I think, one of the best ferns for Oklahoma. It has a toughness that other ferns don't have. It does require an amended soil with ample moisture, but it will reward you with a wonderful display. The plant we've selected for our 2003 Oklahoma Proven Annual is one of my favorite. It's a plant we've grown here at our studio gardens for a number of years now, and it never ceases to perform well. The plant is yellow bells, sometimes called Esperanza, Tacoma stands. But you can see the flowers here, these beautiful large yellow trumpet-shaped blooms. And the plant is not really botanically a true annual. It's actually a tropical shrub that we grow as a tender bedding plant. But you really don't need very many of the plants. Just put a few in the garden and you won't be disappointed, I guarantee it. These plants love the heat. In fact, they don't really get going until it gets hot. You can see we've got a lot of buds here yet to come on, and when it gets hotter, the plants just continue to bloom, and the hotter it gets, the more they bloom. The plants are in the same family as our native trumpet creeper. You might recognize the shape of the flower looks similar to the orange flowers of our native orange trumpet creeper. The family is the Bignonaceae. But again, this plant's best attribute is its wonderful display of color in the heat. The perennial that was chosen for this year is a variety of autumn sage known as Pink Preference, and we've got one right here in our new perennial garden. Now, the name autumn sage may lead you to believe that it looks good or blooms good in the fall, but as you can see, the plant puts on quite a display here in early spring. It'll bloom sporadically also through the summer, and then in the fall it'll look just spectacular with all of these dark pink flowers. Now, Pink Preference is a variety that was selected because of its winter hardiness. Now, we've grown lots of autumn sage, or Greg's sage as it's also known, here in our studio garden, and Pink Preference is the only variety that we've got to overwinter reliably well. The plants are native to southwestern Texas, New Mexico, and parts of Old Mexico. So if you bring a plant from that area up here, you could guess that it may not be that winter hardy. But Pink Preference has proven to be reliably hardy here in Stillwater. Now, the plant is actually more of a shrub than it is a perennial, but here in Oklahoma, we cut it back to about 6 to 8 inches every year and just kind of treat it as a perennial. It does develop some woody tissue, as I mentioned, but again, just cutting it back will give us lots of new growth, lots of flowers every year. The autumn sage is a plant that is very drought tolerant. Once it's established, it can grow well in poor soils as long as they don't contain too much clay. It does best out in full sun, and it absolutely needs that well-drained soil. The Pink Preference autumn sage will bring hummingbirds to your garden, and it will delight you with these wonderful pink flowers throughout the year. Our Oklahoma proven annual for 2004 is the firebush, and botanically speaking, it's not a true annual. It's actually a tropical shrub native to the southeastern parts of Florida, southern Texas, Central America, and Mexico. This is one of the plants right here, and as you can see, they don't look like much at this time of the year. In fact, if you saw this in the nursery, you'd probably pass it by. Well, don't pass them by. Go ahead and pick some up and plant them in your garden. Whenever it gets hot, this plant will really get growing and it'll just look spectacular in your garden. The firebush is, again, a shrubby plant that has tubular orange flowers with a little bit of a yellow throat, and you get a lot of orange in the plant. You not only get orange from the flower buds and then the flowers, but there are also lots of stems that have that orange color. The leaf petioles and even some of the veins in the leaves give you that orange color. Right now, these look orange mainly because they're suffering a little bit of cold stress here on our spring nights, that we still have some cold temperatures. But when the heat comes on in the summertime, these plants really come on. They attract hummingbirds to your garden. They grow well out in full sun. They do best in an organic matter enriched soil, and once established, they're even somewhat drought tolerant. But in the summer garden and on into the fall, I think you'll just be amazed at the color that this plant gives you. The Texas firebush, the annual for 2004, our Oklahoma proven selection. Well, be sure and look for the Oklahoma proven posters at your favorite nursery. They should have pictures of the plants up if they're going to be selling those, and be sure and ask for Oklahoma proven plants. Again, trees, shrubs, perennials, and annuals that we've selected that we recommend growing in Oklahoma. Well, if you come to our studio garden this year, you'll be able to see our Oklahoma proven theme garden like we've got right here before us. It's got a lot of the annuals, a lot of the perennials, and a few of the shrubs that have been selected to this program. Now, you can also learn more about the Oklahoma Proven program by visiting our website. Just go to oklahomagardening.okstate.edu. Go to our homepage, click on resources, and you should be able to read all about this year's Oklahoma Proven selections and also the selections of previous years.